Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Forbidden Tech. I'm Tavon,
And I am Hope.
and today we're going to talk about the fake Orgone products, and we're going to do an in-depth look at all the scientific properties of orgone energy and what to look out for.
This is going to be a longer episode, and it's important that we do a longer episode. The reason for it is because we are doing a very in depth educational presentation here that talks all about orgone energy, the different properties of all of the materials that we use in our orgone products. And we're also going to, towards the latter half of this show, talk about what we're calling fake orgonite, because there's a lot of imposter products out there that are really pretty statues, but they don't have orgone energy properties. So, our intention with this presentation is to fully educate you so that you understand what all these different ingredients are, the scientific and technical properties of these ingredients as it pertains to EMF abatement and life force energy, and so that you can make your own comparisons and decisions if you choose to try to use orgone energy in your life, because there's so many different things that you can use orgone energy um, for your health, for EMF protection, for helping your plants grow. You could use it for your pets. So this is a very in-depth, full presentation.
Also, we want to add that what we find very good about making orgonite is that there are a lot of people all over the world who are making their own. It's very broad, and what we're trying to do is compile everything that we've gained in our experience over the 8 9 years of our business, but also to present that, just to give honor to all those who've been working on it during this time as well, and to make it more understandable for customers who are interested in getting interested in orgone energy.
So, with that said, let's just run through a quick summary of all the topics that we're going to cover in this particular show.
So we're going to talk about us, who we are, and why we do what we do, how orgone energy works. Our products are based on the science of Dr. Wilhelm Reich, first and foremost. Other science studies that we covered on orgone energy, the scientific properties of the ingredients that we use in our products.
Properties of the ingredients like quartz crystal with the piezoelectric effect, iron oxide, which is magnetite, brass, which is a copper alloy, steel, shungite studies, shungite and bees.
Also, the importance of metal powder's surface area, and the scattering of EMF. The surface area scale for orgone energy creation. Understand what scale that the enemy or were you being attacked by, and that you must match it with the same scale. Also, the importance of epoxy resin.
Also, surface pressure scale for orgone energy creation, and that has to do with epoxy and different materials that you can use to make orgone. And we'll show you some examples of other products that don't use high pressure curing epoxy.
Also, we're going to get into the scientific properties of popular gemstones. As you know, when you go shop online or go into a store, there are a lot of things that are called orgonite, and some of them are adorned with all kinds of precious stones. We're also getting into quartz crystals, varieties like rubies, for example, and examples of spiritual properties given to gemstones.
Also, we'll talk about copper coils and talismans that are used in orgone products. In addition, we'll talk about coils in mattresses that pick up radio stations. We have a whole section on why we don't, which is answers to many of our frequently asked questions. And in addition, we'll have a what to look for in the best quality orgone products so you, the consumer, can make an educated, informed decision. And also, we'll just show you some charts of the good versus bad orgone energy products. And then we'll get towards the end of it where we show you some of the what we call fake orgone products.
Yes, and then we'll also give an example of cheap, fake orgonite manufacturers, and that our products at ftwproject.com and our knowledge base of FAQs and live chat.
So let's just first let you know who we are, who it is that's giving you this information and this education, a little bit about our background. Our company, Fix the World Project, SARL, specializes in handmade home decor products for EMF protection, as well as online alternative energy technology education. We are Hope and Tavon. We are American engineers and we live and work in Morocco. We've been making our products by hand since 2017, so that's about 8 years
Yes.
since we've been making these products
Yeah.
in Orgone Energy Products, and we have over 30,000 customers all around the world. Our products are made by our artisan staff in a factory in Marrakesh, and we ship worldwide. We're a family-run business with a distribution hub in the United States with a team of 30 people, both online and on site. The founders, Hope and Tavon, are Naima Fagan and Tavon Rivers, who give keynote speaking presentations about emerging technology to large audiences online. And we have an affiliate program and also offer wholesale to wellness clinics and medical spas.
So we are a husband and wife team of engineering research and business professionals, and we are expats who live in Morocco. I have a background as a U.S. Navy technician and energy technology engineer. That field I've been researching for quite a while now. And my wife holds an MBA and has a variety of business management experience, both government and corporate finance, small business management, and marketing. We run an online engineering academy for the development of clean energy technology devices and also make handmade products for EMF protection.
Okay, so this is a quick review just for a new person that might be coming into this presentation. We're just going to give you a whole bunch of the education as to what orgone energy is, how it works, the science that we base it off of, right? So we'll start with how our orgone energy products work. So our products are handmade by us in our workshop in Morocco. These devices are a composite of shungite, steel, quartz, iron oxide, and brass powders, all encased in an epoxy resin. When the resin cures, it creates a piezoelectric effect that emits a field of healthy, life-preserving energy called orgone. This energy field was discovered and studied by the late scientist Dr. Wilhelm Reich, and there are fascinating studies around orgone energy that we've included in our research documentation section of our website. When used in your environment, these devices transform the harmful energy given off by electromagnetic frequencies or EMFs that come from 5G, your cell phone, Wi-Fi, and electronic devices, and it turns it into a healthy, life-preserving energy.
Now, many people have become sensitive to EMFs, which can cause a number of health issues. Using our products in your environment can protect you from EMF toxicity that helps to restore a harmonious environment that aids in better health and well-being. The results vary from better sleep and pain relief, better growth in plants, food preservation, better mental clarity, and an overall calming effect.
So again, our orgone energy products are based on the science from the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich. So often we're asked for proof of orgone devices and their effectiveness. We have responded with gathering with all the evidence and scientific studies that are hard to find on the censored internet landscape, and we have put them together in a presentation called Orgone Energy Research. This presentation on our website it's presented in 4 parts, which are embedded below on the website.
In the 1930s, during a series of experiments, the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich discovered that living samples placed within containers made from alternating layers of steel and non-conductive organic material were able to harness healthy cosmic energy from the environment. He called this energy orgone. Now, these orgone accumulators had the ability to preserve blood samples for longer periods of time, sprout healthier plant seedlings, provide pain relief for his patients who sat inside of them. Fast forwarding to today, where instead of using sheets of steel and plastic, we use a composite made from a blend of iron oxide, steel, brass, shungite, and crystal powders encased in the epoxy resin, which is your non-organic component. The end result is a harmonizer that is able to transform the harmful wireless fields from cell towers, smart meters, smartphones, internet router, and your television into a more beneficial energy for you, your plants, and pets.
The effect of this scientific phenomenon were replicated and well documented in studies that were done by the University of Pennsylvania and the Heraclitus Microscopic Research Laboratory. In addition, there are fascinating studies done by Alexander Golod around pyramid shapes that show striking similarities to orgone energy. And these are some of the scientific studies that, again, we have on our website so that you can learn more about the science and the documentation behind it. And I just want to add,
Mm.
to do these scientific studies, they're not cheap and free. So some of these were very, very well funded, especially Alexander Golod's pyramid study. He had military funding for that one. So in order to get the scientific measurements that you would require from the equipment is very, very expensive sometimes.
Yes.
So we give a lot of honor to these studies and this great work done by these other scientists and researchers because it takes sophisticated equipment in order to get the measurable effects of something as unique as orgone energy.
Well, in both cases, dealing with the pyramid and the University of Pennsylvania required universities that had government funding.
All right, now we're going to give you a very specific, detailed, scientific, technical breakdown of all of the properties of the ingredients that we have chosen to use in our orgone energy products. This is very important because you need to understand why we use these ingredients versus maybe other people that use different ingredients because all of our ingredients have been chosen for their effectiveness. We try to make the most powerful orgone energy composite that there is, and we've been quite successful. And I think this is the reason why our stuff really does work and it really does help a lot of people, including ourselves. So let's go through each one of the ingredients that we have listed. This is not a secret formula, right? So we tell everybody exactly what we put in all of our products. The first one is quartz crystal in a powder form.
Quartz crystal is a key piezoelectric material known for its high stability, enabling it to convert mechanical strain and stress into electrical energy. This is what creates the orgone field in our products. Now, the quartz oscillators have very high quality factors ensuring stability and low loss in resonators. We're giving you an example of use case and application of quartz in technology. Quartz is used in electronics, frequency control. Again, devices like oscillators, filters, resonators in electronics, your watches, your computers, and your telecommunications. And also in sensors for accelerometers, pressure sensors, and force sensors. Also used in ultrasound transducers and optical filters. And those are examples on the right there with the different size of quartz dealing with the application in piezoelectrics. Our application for having quartz in our composites is to have a piezoelectric response in the matrix as it's being stimulated by the EMF in the background.
Okay, so I'm going to restate what he said to kind of simplify it. When the EMF in the environment hits our products, the quartz crystals create a piezoelectric effect that helps to pulse out, passively pulsing out the energy from the composite.
Also, the quartz material is working in conjunction with the other ingredients that we will cover. They all work in unison to create this harmonizing effect.
Okay, let's talk about magnetite, which is also it's iron oxide. We say iron oxide, which is actually magnetite. So magnetite is a common black metallic iron oxide mineral and the most magnetic naturally occurring mineral on Earth, often used as a major iron ore.
Iron oxides in general are effective absorbers of microwave energy. So whether you're dealing with the one form of iron oxide, which is rust essentially, or the magnetic kind, which is magnetite, primarily due to dielectric loss in materials like hematite, which is rust, and magnetite, with magnetic losses playing a dominant role in the magnetite. Now, they both have their own unique properties when we talk about the one version, which is rust hematite, exhibits a transition of microwave transparent to microwave absorbing behavior with increasing temperature. And so saying with hematite is you see the data points there dealing with how it is able to absorb microwave frequencies within a certain temperature range and within certain frequency range because of its dielectric properties. On these metals, either they have conductive or dielectric properties. In this case, it's the iron oxide. Same thing with magnetite. When you look at the data point here, it is able to couple. And what's interesting about magnetite or iron oxide, the magnetic version, is that it's able to actually couple to electromagnetic fields, and it can take those fields and turn it into acoustic waves. It has an amazing ability to transduce that energy. Also, the property has been linked to potential biological effects via the magnetic-acoustic energy transduction that I just mentioned. And then you get into these iron oxides. Certain types of iron oxides have been used as a promising way of absorbing frequencies within the 30 to 200 gigahertz range because of their unique structure. In this case, it's called the epsilon. For hematite structure, it's called epsilon. That particular molecule in its arrangement is able to absorb those frequencies in those ranges. And since we're all concerned about the harmful effects of EMF, we have both the non-magnetic and magnetic iron oxide in our products because these are the things we research when we decide if we want to add this. And then we have to have access to these powders, of course. And as you can see, the application for this type of iron oxide leads to absorbers for 6G communication, also stealth technology, and radar sensors. Now, the continuous manufacturing process via aerosol spray drying enables scalable production, meaning it's fairly cheap and readily available to get your hands on this and to apply it.
So again, we're showing you each individual ingredient that we put in our composites and all of the different properties that each of these ingredients has. There's a reason why we chose to put what we put in our products, because when you create this orgone field, all of the properties that we're listing here are emanated into your environment. That is what orgone energy essentially is, right? So let's keep going through the different ingredients. We're going to cover brass and steel. Now, brass is a copper alloy. Can you explain what that is?
A copper alloy is simply copper mixed with another metal for its unique properties.
So brass is essentially copper
Copper with zinc.
with zinc. And why do they have copper and zinc mixed together?
So it's to make it harder, stronger, more resistant to corrosion because, as you know, if you have pure copper outdoors and you're in a climate that has maybe a monsoon season followed by a desert summer sun, you'll easily corrode that copper into a green mess. So you alloy it with a metal that makes it more wearing in this case, weather environment.
And so essentially brass is copper,
Yes,
right? And
copper.
it contains copper. It has all the properties of copper.
It's optional.
But the reason why we use brass is because it's more resistant to corrosion, which is very important when you're mixing it together in a powder form into an epoxy resin. You want it to last and be resilient, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the interesting properties around brass or copper alloy is it does have EMI RFI shielding. So due to its high electrical conductivity, copper is highly effective at blocking or shielding radio frequency, radiation, and other electromagnetic interference or EMI. It acts as a Faraday cage to reflect or absorb electromagnetic waves. Copper is a powerful, broad spectrum antimicrobial material that kills 99.9% of bacteria, viruses, and fungi within 2 hours of contact, including antibiotic resistant superbugs like MRSA.
Copper is a very amazing metal. It's very unique, and it's some new research is dealing with how exactly can copper kill bacteria on contact, because that research also implies that the petri dish with the bacterial colony and the copper isn't necessarily touching. Like the copper sample piece is literally a few millimeters away from the piece that's being observed, and the bacteria still dies without physically touching the cells of the bacteria. So energetically, it's a very active material. And again, that's why we have copper, brass and copper in our products as well.
And we'll have more information on copper in just a second in our next slide. But first, let's just quickly cover steel
Mm.
and the properties of steel.
Steel has a high relative permeability, meaning it readily conducts magnetic flux. This property makes it effective for magnetic shielding, again, blocking low frequency fields. Also, while lower than copper or aluminum, steel's conductivity allows it to shield against electric fields. Also, there that is in generalization, but we use powders, metal powders in our composite. And when you do research on the effect of metal powders or composites that have metal powders and microwaves going through them or around them, what you find is that such composites actually draw in those RF fields into its matrix and absorbs that energy.
All right, so going back to copper, because copper is a very important metal to use in processes like this. So there's so much more information about copper that we wanted to cover here.
Okay, so although we're using it purely as an ornament or something that you can have or wear on you, this is talking about the biological benefits of copper in general. Copper is essential in biological systems because it acts as a cofactor for numerous enzymes involved in critical physiological processes. Um, Basically, those processes are able to convert the copper ions, and that whole process enables redox reactions vital for cellular function. And there's more data talking about the biological roles dealing with energy production, um, uh, essential for aerobic respiration and ATP synthesis, antioxidant defense, is part of the copper zinc superoxide. Um, is a process which neutralizes harmful superoxide radicals into oxygen hydrogen peroxide, protecting cells from oxidative damage. What I found fascinating about this is look at the dual companion copper zinc relationship here. We just mentioned that copper and zinc is used to alloy to create brass. In the body, it's used in a way to protect the cells from oxidative stress. So you need the micronutrient copper and zinc. And but what I found fascinating is that copper and zinc are great for making batteries as well. And that in fact that a lot of the main rechargeable batteries that are used today involve metals like a copper zinc. Your body also uses and metabolizes for its health. Iron metabolism. Copper dependent enzymes act as ferroxidase, facilitating iron oxidation and transport, crucial for hemoglobin synthesis and preventing iron accumulation. Then we go into connective tissue formation, neurotransmitter synthesis, pigmentation, and hormone production. Copper homeostasis is tightly regulated as both deficiency and excess can lead to serious health issues. So again, if you find comments online talking about, oh, aren't all metals bad, or copper is poison, you have to have more knowledge, and we're trying to share that today about. In this case, it's the dose, and realize that as a vitamin or a mineral that your body uses it and needs it for normal production.
This might be, have you covered the antibacterial properties yet?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's cover the antibacterial properties of copper, and then we'll go on a little bit of a sidetrack talking about what you just mentioned
Okay.
about um, copper toxicity.
Right.
Everything is toxic, everything is poison, everything is bad, and we'll just kind of give you our viewpoint on that. So let's just go into copper and its antibacterial properties first.
This is a particular pure copper that is a very unique, it's a very unique alloy of copper, but it's mostly pure copper. And it's an inherently antibacterial. This is the metal that was under study, that some new research is finding has some very energetic properties where it even destroys bacteria even at a distance, not necessarily needing to touch the bacterial cell physically. And this alloy is called copper C10-100. Exhibits a natural antibacterial property, making it suitable for applications where hygiene is critical. This is due to copper's ability to disrupt microbial bacterial cell membranes and interfere with essential cellular processes, leading to rapid microbial death. And how it's doing that is still what's being researched right now. Antimicrobial registration C10-100 is registered with the US EPA as an antimicrobial alloy, confirming its effectiveness against a broad range of bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Key applications: its antibacterial nature is leveraged in medical devices, surgical instruments, hospital surfaces, plumbing systems, marine hardware, where preventing microbial growth is essential. You can literally take an ingot of this pure copper and put it within your water basin or a water basin to make sure that it is germ free. High purity advantage with copper content 99% and oxygen levels at that low number. C10-100 maintains consistent antimicrobial performance without degradation from impurities. It's a very unique pure form of copper alloy.
Okay, so here's our sidetrack, and we're going to talk about just mental concepts, belief systems when it comes to everything is toxic, all metals are bad. And so there's a lot of conversation going on about this right now. So let's just try to kind of delineate each thing really quickly.
Mhm.
First of all, you've got natural minerals, metals that exist in the earth, in our world, that are natural, right? God put them there for a reason. And then you've got this entire suite of synthetic variations of that. And many times, like the pharmaceutical companies, they will take natural composites, plants, herbs, minerals, metals, and they will do things to them to create a synthetic version of it that does not react to the human body or our environment in the way that it should. Okay. What we are talking about here is not synthetic. So if anything is synthetic with these arguments, that's all over on one side. We're not talking about synthetic. We're talking about the natural form of these minerals. And so that's one thing
Mhm.
that you really need to understand and take into account. The other thing is the scale. So too much of anything is a bad thing, right? So I know that there is a very common ailment of copper toxicity, for example, that happens when people have old copper pipes for their plumbing and they've been drinking copper laced water for decades and the copper builds up in their body and they have a copper toxicity. And that is, it's dangerous for your health and you have to do things to take care of that. Again, if you're taking copper supplements of any kind, because there are copper supplements, it needs to be a natural form of copper and not a synthetic form of copper.
I'm agreeing with you. It's mainly for me, it's dosage that just just generalizations. It isn't necessarily giving any detail about the situation or the context or what have you. It's all about dosage and with regards to when you know that there are metals that have inherent properties that the body uses for metabolism. You have
Yeah.
to have that knowledge.
And again, we are not healers. We are not doctors. We are not natural healers, even. But we greatly support those that have dedicated their lives to developing the knowledge and the skill sets around how to heal the human body. So when it comes to things like metals in your body, heavy metal
Mhm.
detoxes, which metals are good, which metals are bad. And there's a huge array of different types of testing that can be done on you. You can do hair analysis, you can do different blood tests by the right professionals who can, and then you'll be able to find out, Do I have too much copper? Do I have too much aluminum? Like what metals do you want in your body? What metals do you not want in your body? This is something that we strongly suggest that people find a practitioner that they trust and that they educate themselves on what it is that they're looking for in order to detox their body from these heavy metals and, take it from there. That's not what we do. We are into the technology aspect of it, and what we do is we focus on your environment. We're technicians that focus on the EMF in the environment, but we do know that the EMF is a signal that beams onto metal particulates, nanotechnology that would be inside of everyone's bodies due to the pollution and other things in our society. So that's just a little bit of a sidetrack here, because we know that people are saying this is toxic, that's toxic, everything's poison. That's not necessarily true. It's really important to take a nice deep breath and slow down and just dig into the documentation and educate yourself.
And get into the details of what problem you're actually trying to address.
Exactly.
What specific problem and what solutions are there?
Many people become sensitive to EMFs, which can cause a number of health issues. Using Orgone Energy products in your environment can protect you from EMF toxicity and help to restore a harmonious environment that aids in better health and well-being. The results vary from better sleep, pain relief, better growth in plants, food preservation, better mental clarity, and an overall calming effect. These handmade devices are a composite of shungite, steel, iron oxide, quartz, and brass powders, all encased in an epoxy resin. They emit a passive grounding field of Orgone energy. When used in your environment, these devices transform the harmful energy given off by electromagnetic frequencies or EMFs that come from 5G, your cell phones, Wi-Fi, and electronic devices into healthy, life-preserving energy. These Orgone energy devices are available in different shapes and sizes for a variety of different uses. Pendants that you wear, phone shields to use on your electronics, sleeping pods to help protect you at night, and charge plates to use for food preservation, pyramids to grid your property, and garden pucks to help your plants grow. They even have construction tiles to help transform your space. And now there are products for your pets and headset protectors. To learn more, read the science and testimonials and save 10%. Click the link in the description below.